Hey everybody, Heather from Hooked on Pickin. We are just coming back from vacation, and so I wanted to give you a glimpse into kind of how we started. We have a lot of new viewers on the Hooked on Pickin channel, and so I wanted to kind of share with you how did it all get started. Now, we did a video way back quite a few years ago on how it all began, and so Paul and I look quite a bit younger, but I wanted to kind of throw back the time clock and just show you what was it like way back then and how did we get started and what kind of made us progress. And so I think at this time we're in our current warehouse, the little warehouse, and we hadn't quite moved to the store yet. It was shortly after we built the building, and so we wanted to give you a glimpse into how it all got started. And so enjoy us explaining how Paul and I got this whole thing started.
Hey everybody, Heather from Hooked on Pickin here. We have reached our goal, and I promised that my hubby, the cameraman, the voice behind the camera, would be on this episode for a behind the scenes kind of look at how we got started. And so this is Paul. We've been married for 15 years.
Hello.
And we have 3 kiddos, ages 14, 12, and 9. And so I'm going to kind of let him talk because he started the early years because I was busy having little babies. So
just FYI, we are now at 19 years of marriage, and our kids' ages are now 17, 15, and 12. So that's how many years ago it has been.
So go ahead and get started on how we started.
Well, first of all, I may have started it, but Heather took it way farther than I could have ever taken it, for sure. We kind of stumbled into reselling, if you will. I'm a pastor, and I was pastoring in Iowa after I got out of Bible college. Heather was at the Bible college with me there too. And Heather's a great pastor's wife, does a phenomenal job, sings beautifully, and it's just been a huge, huge blessing to every church we've been to. But when we were in a church in Iowa, it was a small church, and by the time our second child was born, we realized we don't make no money. And we had to figure out what we were going to do. Well, we could either go in debt or we needed to pick up other income. And the church was doing all that they could do for me. They were a good church and trying to help us. They were taking care of our insurance. That was going through the roof. And some of you experienced things like that too and are trying to figure out how to make extra money. So Heather started doing some jewelry, making jewelry beads. I think I got you that for Christmas one year or something like that, Christmas or a birthday. And she started doing that, and it was really pretty pieces. And a few people in the church actually bought some of the jewelry. And then you got into craft shows there.
Yeah,
for
I
a
started
little
doing craft shows for a little while,
and I think she did pretty well, $300-400 a craft show. But the problem was there just wasn't many craft shows. Well, one day I went to get my hair cut at the barber, and I was talking about how well my wife's doing making these necklaces and all sorts of little jewelry things. And the lady suggested that these beads get expensive and said, why don't you go to auctions? You can always buy jewelry and then take them apart. And I started doing that. There was a Sunday auction after church, but there was a Sunday auction down in Burlington, Iowa. It was a great little place. And again, we were broke, but this auction was perfect. At the very end of the auction, they would just sell off all the extra stuff. And that's what I started doing. I started just hanging out till the end and not knowing what was worth selling or what things were worth. I started buying all these flats of jewelry and various other things. Well, one day I came home and Heather saw a necklace in this flat of jewelry. And she says, boy, that is really pretty. I think it was a name brand, something, Napier, or
Leah Sophia, I thought.
Okay,
yeah, it was a Leah Sophia.
Probably was Leah Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny that we're kind of talking about this now because we've kind of gone a little bit back to our roots. And with that, we are going back to some auction style of selling jewelry again. So, but we sell a lot of brand new, but then like Paul's dad, he kind of has the auction bug just like, we did in the beginning.
And I just bought it because it had a bunch of beads on it. And I thought, well, she could take it apart and do things. And we were just starting to dabble with eBay and putting things on eBay of certain things that she was making. And she put that necklace on there, and I think it sold for like $20 or something.
Yeah, a lot more than what, I mean, we were selling stuff for like $2 or $3 of profit.
And probably not even making much profit. We just didn't know,
Yeah.
with all the fees and stuff. And like a light bulb came on to go, well, what else could we resell? Instead of having to make the item, what could we actually resell? So every Sunday I would preach, and then I would go down to this auction, and then I started going to other auctions once I started to get to know the auctioneers around the area. And again, not knowing what was valuable, I slowly started buying coins. I slowly started buying little decorative figurines, all sorts of different things.
You got into flatware,
yes.
yeah.
I started getting really good at understanding what silverware was worth. And of course, things fluctuated and changed over time. Straight razors, all sorts of different things I would pick up. And at the auctions, I could pick them up fairly cheaply, and I would bring them home. We were, like I said, it was after our second child. Heather was incredibly busy. We had another child. So primarily,
I'm pretty sure that I have always been incredibly busy. He said I was incredibly busy then. I feel like I'm losing my mind now. So we do all sorts of things, especially with the owning of the store. And we have high school students where we're being pulled in 15 different directions. And so I think everyone is always incredibly busy.
I was doing the business. I was picturing these things on eBay. And it actually helped us to stay in the ministry. It enabled us to bring in the extra money so we didn't have to go into debt.
And buy diapers.
And it was awesome. We had everything on the PayPal card. Many of you know that. And I remember the first time we got to go out to eat, and I put it on the PayPal card, and it didn't affect our own personal finances. And it was just...
the business paid for our meal that day.
It was great that day.
Yeah. So, and now instead of using the PayPal card to just go out to eat, we actually cash flow entire vacations, such as the one we're getting ready to get finished with. So we should be back today from vacation. We had someone running the store, the retail store for us while we were gone, but we'll be doing all the shipping, and that busyness will just continue. But instead of just paying for a meal or some diapers, now we're able to put money into an IRA. We're able to put money into college funds for our kids and cash flow our entire vacations. So that's been really fun to see the progression. Please leave in the comment section below. I'd love to hear, what do you pay for with your extra side hustle money or your full-time job of reselling? What do you sell?
Well, anyway, I started doing all of that. We started moving on with our second church. So we were at our first church for 8 years, and God bless there. We praise the Lord for that. But then it was time for us to move on to our second church. And whenever I moved to the second church, it was a bigger church, and it had a lot more ministries going on that needed my attention, and I just couldn't get to the auction.
Bigger staff too, so there was just more to manage.
All sorts of things. So we still aren't rolling in the money, and the kids started going to school. Now all 3 children by that time, now they're in school, and Heather started looking around for, the plan was always when all the kids get into school, she was going to kind of start a career herself. And so we started trying to figure out what she wanted to do.
I substitute taught for a couple of years.
You did.
When they first started school, and I really enjoyed that, but
she makes a lot more money doing this.
I do. And so, so he kind of handed the reins over and said, hey, do you want to do this? And so I started, posting on eBay and things like that. And back in the day, it was a lot harder. It was take the picture, upload it to the, to the computer, and it took a lot longer to do a lot of that kind of stuff. Now it's way easier.
That is what got us into Amazon. We figured out, we don't have to take the picture. We just have to put it in a box and mail it, or put it on our shelf, and there it is.
So really, he's responsible for starting our Amazon account. He started and then just started selling, I think, old textbooks we had from school.
Textbooks. When I got to the St. Louis area, I pastor 30 minutes east of St. Louis. I discovered these places called Goodwill outlets, and I love the hunt. I love picking, and it was an experience like none other. You go, everything's in these bins, and you get to dig through, kind of like an auction, but you're buying things by the pound. And so I was bringing things back that still had a barcode, that were in the wrapper, you know, in the original packaging, and those things started getting on Amazon. So we had figured out eBay, we had figured out Amazon, but we might have been, with what I could do, a couple, I don't know, maybe $5,000 a year.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
you
probably.
know,
But
that
I
kind
mean,
of
that
thing.
was enough at the time.
Yeah.
Things started getting more expensive, and because I had more time because the kids were in school, you know, he started showing me the ropes. Well, I have a very different way of thinking about things. And so I kept doing eBay, which was the initial way that we knew how to sell. And so that was going really good, but I was irritated at how long it took. And so we started putting some more things on Amazon, just, you know, things around the house and things he would find at thrift stores that were.
Now, Amazon is a super duper awesome place to sell. And if you can sell on Amazon, that's great. And back then, which was roughly what, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, it was super easy. We were really, really cranking out some dough, making some money on Amazon FBA. But then everybody came into the market and they started to really crack down regulations on that. And so currently right now, we don't sell it all on Amazon. Now I know how to sell on Amazon. I keep track of, can I get back into the market on Amazon? And so I try to stay knowledgeable on Amazon, but currently right now, we don't sell anything on Amazon because we're doing so great on hookedonpickin.com. And so, yes, Amazon was a stepping stone to my own website, my own store, and my own full-time income. So that's been really fun.
Were still brand new in package, and a lot of books. You know, you can sell used books on Amazon. That's kind of where it started. And then that's when we decided to start a YouTube channel of the fun things that we would find on our adventures. And so that's kind of where the YouTube channel kind of grew from. I kind of wanted to explain the first sourcing trip you went on with me that shocked your brain.
Sure. All of my experience of picking, if you will, and I loved American Pickers. I loved watching that show. But anyway, my idea was you buy things as cheaply as you possibly can, and even if you can only make $5 on it, you know, you only want to spend like $1 on it and put it on eBay and hope it sells. And then the auction style, oh, it sold for $7. Oh, wow, you know, and so in my mind, it was always, if I spent $100 at an auction, I was nervous. You know, we never really had a lot of money to spend, and I always used our business account to do that. But the first time I went shopping with Heather, when the reins were finally turned over to her, she had started with $300. And she had slowly grown that over about a month and a half or two. Mm-hmm. And now she had like $1,500. And I'm blown away by that. And we were getting into retail. And that was totally a foreign concept to me. I'm a Goodwill thrifter. I'm a Goodwill outlet.
And he still loves to do that. Yeah.
I like that stuff, finding the diamond in the rough kind of thing. And then, so we walk into Walmart. And it was after a Christmas.
So this is one of my favorite stories in our actual reseller experiences, because I think I legitimately gave Paul a heart attack, because like you said, we were penny pinchers. We did not have a lot to live on. And even though we do earn a lot more on our business, we have a lot more expenses with the kids getting older and where our money is going. And so we still are pretty good penny pinchers. Now we do go out to eat more than we probably should now, but we're still a bit penny pinchers. And so I still remember the heart attack he had with the dollar amount that I decided to spend at Walmart that day. So continue watching.
Time. And
it was like January, a couple years ago.
Our local Walmart had the craziest thing happen. Their managers had changed. This story we found out later. And in the midst of that change, they had stored a lot of toys and random stuff in a what was it, a trailer in the
like
back
the
or
big,
something?
yeah, the big like loaded on a flatbed trailer
Yeah.
kind of big storage cargo.
Right, around Christmas time you'll see sometimes your local Walmart does that. Well, they had left it there, and so when the new manager came, they didn't even realize what was in that. Somebody messed up.
It's basically old toys from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but yeah, so you had you know how the Star Wars movies were coming out? Well, now they had all these old toys in brand new, pristine condition, and somebody made the genius decision of, we just got to get them gone. Like, you know, let's cover the mistake. And so, you know, a toy that would have been $30 that they would have marked down to 15, now it's marked down to 5. And so we're just scanning with our Amazon app, and we're just loading up stuff. And when we hit the $100 mark, I was like, okay, we're done. You know, that was a good haul.
And I was like, no, there's more money here. There's more money here. So I just kept on going.
Absolutely. We filled up like 3 carts that day, and it was, I think it was around $1,000.
Yeah, it was like $970 is what we spent.
Cool.
And he was about to have a heart attack while we
was.
were wheeling our 3 carts of toys out to the vehicle, trying to figure out how to cram it all in our minivan. And
it was great, though.
but then as soon as I sent them in, they just started blowing out because you couldn't find those toys anymore, and they were marked up so high.
Good
and
prices,
so,
whole
like,
deal.
he was blown away that you could spend that much money but make even more. I think we made triple on our trip that day, you know,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden now we've got $3,000 in the account, and we can start paying ourselves a paycheck, because up to that point we had just been paying a little bills here and there, and then using the PayPal card to go see a movie or, you know, go out to eat, you know, once a month or something like that. And so we weren't really using it. It was just kind of for the fun extras. But now we got to the point where we're like, we're making a consistent big amount of money, so let's start actually giving ourselves a paycheck. And that's kind of where it grew from there. So I gave him a heart attack. Yep. And but that's when his eyes were opened kind of to retail, and like that's my MO, is I like things that are brand new and clean and in retail. And he still does the thrifting, which is awesome, because we still get those really fun finds that we get in the thrifting. And I've grown to appreciate it. I wouldn't say it's my first love. I love wholesale and thrifting and liquidation a lot more.
I still love wholesale and liquidation a lot more. I am not a huge fan of thrifting, digging through bins, any of that. And Paul is still a huge fan of digging through bins and thrifting and all of that fun stuff. So, I still love the brand new products, but now we've grown from just doing liquidation and buying kind of like new or brand new condition and liquidation to moving to wholesalers, closeout companies, and direct from manufacturers. So like all our Hammond's chocolates and our Jelly Bellies and stuff, we're buying directly from the distributor. So we've definitely grown that kind of newer product end on hookedonpickin.com, as well as still keeping the nostalgic fun finds that Paul likes to do on auctions. And I feel like his dad has kind of like taken over the antique type of picking, and boy, he has a good eye as well. So that's kind of fun to see how our business has grown, and it takes me back being able to watch this video like this. So let's see what else we thought 4 or 5 years ago.
But he's kind of always the one that helps me source items and thinks out of the box when it comes to pushing me to the next level. Like, I'm fine if I know how to do stuff, I will plug away and I will do it and do it and do it, and you know, just make the money that way. And he's like, well, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about this? So he's kind of my brainstorm, think outside the box, and he implants the idea, and then usually once it gets to me, I marinate on it, and then it explodes into something enormous.
Much bigger and better than I could ever make it. 100%. And then I've had some really bad ideas too.
Yeah, we'll never do storage auctions ever again. Like, if you haven't seen our videos on that, they're pretty.
Our storage wars situation
humorous.
wasn't really that great.
No,
so
we ended up at a
bought it
landfill.
cheap enough,
Yeah, we did.
man.
We bought it for the right price, but we ended up in a U-Haul on the top of a landhill mountain.
And
So-
Heather has gotten a lot of grief for that. And you want me to tell them? Is it all right?
Yeah, you can tell.
tell them
Patrons,
'cause
this
you're a
is
Patreon
the
people,
this
but-
is the inside track. We get a lot of grief because I threw a lot of stuff away.
Yes, she
But-
gets crucified on YouTube for, hey, I can't believe you threw that away. It should have been donated. We opened up the first big unit of the storage unit. we paid like $30.
Oh yeah,
We're
and it
thinking,
was
"Oh,
packed.
It's packed and stuff." And I saw some things at the beginning. I'm like, okay, well, there's our $30 right there. I didn't factor in renting a U-Haul. We don't have a truck anymore.
$1,200, $5,000, and this one is $3,000. Every single month I get paid by Audible. If you don't
or anything like that, so we're not really set up for it necessarily. But we move like the auction goes on. We move the first 5 boxes and all these roaches.
Oh my word. And I was not about to put
goodness.
anything with
It
roaches
was
in
bad.
my vehicle. It was gross.
So the majority of that stuff, it's just every box that
Was
you
just
got
infested. It was just totally infested.
Finally, when you got to the very back of the unit, I think it had gotten wet is what happened. But when you got to the back of the unit, you found things that weren't wet, but still you were suspicious of it.
But there were like random like dollar store bags of suckers in there.
Yeah.
Like why would you put that in
I'm
a
not
storage
sure.
unit?
I'm not sure. But anyway, so that was my bad idea.
So that's why we threw a lot of it away, because
Yes.
it literally was covered in roaches. And even though the item looked nice in the video, we knew the roaches had been on it. And so that just, yuck.
It was not a good
So anyway,
situation.
that's our fun. But he does think outside the box and push me to the next level. He's kind of my brainstorming, bounce things off of, what do you think if I should do this and things like that. And then, like he said, I get to take it kind of to the next level.
We found bulk.com. That was our first liquidation. We found several others. We've probably had the best luck with bulk. That's
So it's funny that he brings up bulk.com because we have not bought from bulk.com in a long, long time. And the biggest reason is because we just frankly get better deals with companies that are a little bit more difficult to deal with. So bulk.com is super awesome because it's like click, buy, ship here, as well as a few other companies that we worked with in the very beginning. But the one that we order the majority of our pallets from now is B-Stock. In B-Stock, you have to wire transfer the money, which is kind of a hassle, but we found out how to do it with our mobile app for banking. And then we also have to coordinate a lot of the deliveries. And so that gets to be a bit of a hassle as well. And with B-Stock, it's not a set price. You have to auction buy everything. And so that's been really fun to do. Paul loves to do the auctions. They terrify me because I get a little bit of the, I get caught up in the auction activity and want to spend too much money. But Paul is usually fairly disciplined with that. And the nice thing with the B stocks is you set your high price and then you just kind of leave it alone. So anyway, so we buy from a little bit more difficult companies to deal with. And usually it's because now the market's not flooded. Bulk.com, although it's a very good liquidation company, the market's kind of flooded with that. And so you fight a lot of people, and so their prices have gone up a bit. So still great things there. We also buy from Via Trading, and we've tried a plethora of other liquidators, but like I said, we have kind of graduated to doing some B-Stock liquidation, but then the rest of it is like wholesale closeouts because it's all brand new, it's not broken, and we can sell it at basically the same prices. So that's been really cool as well. So let's see what else we say.
It's been a blessing being able to figure that out, the fully manifested thing. So I get to help Heather with that, to look through it. We've made mistakes on that too. You've seen videos where we've lost money on those, but we try really hard not to.
So we also do, like, that's the liquidation, which you guys see a lot of on YouTube, and that's kind of where you know us from the best, but we still do the retail shopping, and I go and spend $1,000 at Walmart after Christmas, and he still has a heart attack every time, but we make the money back, don't worry, plus some. He still does a lot of the thrifting. I'll go with him sometimes because I've learned to appreciate the thrifting, and I do some thrifting on my own now. And then we've also gotten into wholesale, where we buy direct from manufacturer. We buy from American manufacturers or distribution centers, and then we've also jumped into buying overseas. We're at the point now, it is February of 2019, and we bought our first overseas product. We've had it on 2 separate platforms for 2 weeks, and we've sold 4 of those items and made a good profit. We made all our money back, plus doubled our money, plus a little more, I think is where I would say we're at. On one platform, we make a little bit more than the other, but So that's why we have it listed on 2 separate ones. But we were doing really good, and we're investigating more options for going with more overseas products. We like the company we're working with now, and so that's kind of the next step for us. But don't worry, we're still going to do the liquidation. We love it. The thrill to hunt and the fun part of unboxing is always going to be there. But we found out about the wholesale liquidation from ASD Market Week. Do you want to kind of explain ASD Market Week?
That was fun. That was a neat experience. That's kind of opened us up to even more wholesale ideas and private label and those sorts of ideas.
Where you can actually buy a product and get your own personalized logo put on it so that nobody can be on your listing and things like that.
It was just amazing. It was in Las Vegas, the one we went to, and it's at the convention center, and it's a huge convention center, and every 5 to 10
I think
feet,
we only saw 50% of it, and
yeah,
we walked
we
like...
tried to get to everything, but
yeah.
It's just people selling new product, inventors saying, hey, please sell my product, all kinds of different little companies trying to sell anything and everything, others that would say, hey, if you buy 200 of these, we'll put your logo on it, and all sorts of different things. Just kind of really opened our eyes to the potential that you could have. Mm-hmm. And it's not just on Amazon. You still have the potential on eBay and Poshmark, and there will be many others, and you know that there are many others that you could sell on. It's just amazing. I'm amazed by my wife. Every week she comes up with something different, like the selling things directly on YouTube, which is what we just did not too long ago.
One of the live feed videos,
yeah. She did well there.
So it's funny because that was kind of the beginning of the thought process of selling live on YouTube. And for those of you who've been watching me for the last few years, you know that we exploded with our live sales on YouTube, and we do a fire sale every Monday. Now, this is a Monday. We're not doing a fire sale because we're traveling back for vacation. But I did want to let you know that this is kind of the time frame where we started deciding to sell live on YouTube, just because we had so many of you commenting, hey, I want to buy that. I want to buy that. I want to buy that. And I think this might even be before hookedonpickin.com. So when we filmed this video. And so that's been really exciting to see the new live streams. ASD Market Week, we just went back this past year in 2022 and definitely hit the ground running with purchasing from wholesalers and stuff. And as you can see from hookedonpickin.com, we have tons of product. We maybe will definitely be replenishing and refilling our sources as soon as we get back from this vacation trip. But it's funny to see where we were to where we are now. So that's been hilarious to see that progress. So let's see what else we got going on this video.
She'll come up with selling something on Facebook Marketplace, or just all kinds of different ways that you can do that. And I think that if you do get into like liquidation, you can't just be a one-trick pony. You can't just sell on Amazon or just sell on eBay. You need to think outside the box. And if you do, you can actually make a good living doing it. So, and now Heather makes more money than I do, and I'm happy with that. So.
Well, this month, it's a fluctuating number, but we're hoping to get to the point where ministry-wise, we can live on my income, and then ministry just gets to be a blessing, and we don't have to really put a burden of financial support on the church. So that's ultimately what we love to do the most, and this gives us an opportunity to do that. I just want to say a big, huge thank you, because you guys are patrons of mine. You get to support us, and this gives us opportunity to put more content.
So basically, I had sneak peeked this video out to just patrons only. So I wanted to share it publicly with you guys, and I think I have shared it publicly with another section of the audience before. But you guys have asked a lot. How did it all start? Well, there you go. We just kind of shared the story there. And so instead of rehashing all of that, I just thought I'd replay and kind of commentate on where from 2019 to now, where we've progressed. But it's been really fun to kind of see the progression of how we have moved as a company and as a business. And that I'm currently filming in our old warehouse, and it's going to gradually be changed over. Everything is going to be moved to the store. And so we now have have our own store, retail location. We have our own website. We consistently do live fire sales, and how all of that has been changing and growing and evolving. And so if you are a reseller and you have a business, or you've been watching us for a long time, I just thought I'd do this kind of throwback for you guys and show you how it was to how it is now. And we'll get all your items shipped out for you, and be watching the Hooked on Pickin Facebook page and the YouTube channel. We may decide to throw in a random fire sale this week, since we didn't have one because of being on vacation. If we can get all our stuff organized and all the shipment out in the first couple of days, we may go ahead and do a fire sale. So be on the lookout on the Hooked on Pickin Facebook page. Make sure you join and like that page so that you can get all the regular updates of what's going on with the channel and with the store. And of course, remember, in the end, Jesus wins.